One. Okay, we're live. Welcome to the Monkey Bar, episode 90. 10 episodes away from breaking 100. I was going to talk about something before we started. We were talking about like Power Rangers, and I don't know what. Like, we were talking about because Mark Pellegrini posted on his Twitter about the Turbo Power Rangers movie and how it has. I'll get to that later. But there's the main villain of Power Rangers, the Turbo movie is I can't remember what her name is. What was it? Divatox. Like I was just on his Twitter page. I should know this, but he's been going back through Power Rangers Turbo, and he started with the movie, which is like I think it's even worse than the reboot. It's like it's a really bad movie. Except for this one screenshot they posted, and I remember it was from I was telling you that it was from the when I was 14. This was like the first things that jumped out to me was her outfit, and I remember I was watching it with my uncle, and I think that he was like, we can tell like why she got hired, and I'm like, yeah, both of those reasons. And it's like, and there's like a conehead guy on her right, and
I really like the guy on the right.
Yeah, this guy.
I need to look up. I fucking love Japanese villain designs.
Mm-hmm.
They always say those suits are cheesy. Think of how much design and thought went into them.
Yeah. Or like the effects, I remember seeing. Well, I brought this up before. Was like the behind the scenes of it was either Godzilla or Ultraman, where they're on like the stage out in like the middle of a desert, and they're like throwing up fireworks and stuff, and like how you have to choreograph all that stuff. They would put all those spark shooters in the suits whenever a hit lands. They have to make sure that goes off at the right time.
If you ever I understand that Godzilla is not exactly the highest tier of film, but if you watch the later ones, they can really make that choreography work.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla Final Wars has one of what I consider the most badass scenes ever.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla's been frozen in ice for 50 years and they let him out. And they zoom in on his eye and they do the shittiest fire effect in his pupil. But as they're playing the heavy rock music and he's looking at Gigan, it fucking works because they have all the ice clumped on him. They have steam coming off. And you can feel there's about to be an ass whooping coming out.
Uh-huh. Well, speaking of shitty effects, I saw the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League is on production, and a screenshot of Darkseid got posted. Do you want to see it?
Oh, fuck, no.
Yeah,
I want to see it. Hurt me.
It's like, he looks like a...
He looks like... You know what he looks like? He looks like a Daedra from Skyrim.
Yeah, they were saying, he looks like a PS4 model, or...
Don't even say that. He looks like a PS3 model in a cutscene.
Uh-huh. I like that. I like this picture.
I actually... Oh, God. I actually can kind of see the design working for a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, Darkseid.
Yeah. For me, the standard for Darkseid was the Justice League cartoon, or Superman, the animated series. That just worked perfectly. It was voiced by Michael Ironside. It just worked perfectly. And,
God.
I remember
the outfit itself might be a bit simplistic for movie, but it worked.
Yeah. And I remember he had probably one of the most badass lines in the animated series. I remember it was the series finale of the Superman series, where it was after Superman beats him up on Apocalypse, but all of his slaves help Darkseid to his feet. And Darkseid's like, I am many things, Kal-El, but here I am God. And so it's like this sort of, that's definitely one of the most badass lines in the DCAU.
Been more of a Marvel than DC guy.
That's fair.
I've always liked Thanos a little bit more than Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
Does not mean I don't like Darkseid. Fuck, I love Darkseid.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I've actually been revisiting it on Disney Plus, was the X-Men Evolution cartoon.
Yeah.
And it holds up pretty well. I'm watching the first season, which is sort of regarded as a rocky start. And it's like, yeah, there's some stuff there that doesn't quite work. But I don't know. I think that it works for what it is. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole series all the way through, and I don't know. I might keep getting back to it. But I remember that's what got me into the X-Men. That and the movies, which I think the animated series was right after the first movie.
You know who wrote the first two movies?
Who?
Partially wrote David
Hayter. Yeah, I know that.
I fucking love that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman could have been a good Snake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Physically.
Yeah, but the fact of I remember there was a point where X-Men 2 was considered the best superhero movie of all time, and bringing up David Hayter, it sort of highlights just how underappreciated writers are in not just film but really any medium, because it's David Hayter, he's done all this screenwriting stuff, but barely anybody knows that he's a screenwriter. Everybody knows him as the voice of Solid Snake.
I admit, I know him more as Snake than as a writer.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, because, like I said, it's just this sort of, writers just aren't given credits. I know that one of Harlan Ellison's famous rants is Pay the Writer, where it's he was sort of being adamant about not accepting exposure, especially. But, also, I think that the reason that he got so famous was that, or so well known, is that he was such a blowhard that he always kicked up a stink whenever he was inconvenienced, or I guess now that seems like less of an inconvenience now that more and more people are starting to become aware of just how much shit writers get, how much of a shit deal they get, because or there's another quote by, I can't remember who it was, but they said, if you ask somebody who their favorite director is, or who the best director of all time is, they would probably have 2 or 3 or 5 answers. But if you ask them who the best screenwriter is, they would be able to tell you.
That's a good point, unless we're a cinephile.
Yeah. Unless you know a lot about movies. If you know a lot about the behind the scenes of movies, then you wouldn't be able to tell them jack about any screenwriter in Hollywood working today, even. I think the only one that comes to mind is David S. Goyer, if only because he was the writer of Batman v Superman and some other. I think he did the script for The Dark Knight as well, so that's quite a jump in quality. But I think I just know him from his rant on superhero nerds saying, superheroes, people who like superheroes need to get laid, stuff like that. He was saying it at a Comic-Con, and just him saying, if you know who Martian Manhunter is, then you have no social life. You need to get laid, or something like that. It's just
if you insult your fucking audience, I don't think you need to serve your audience, but there's a give and take,
Yeah, I don't think that. Well, Harlan Ellison, one of his takes is that you don't really owe your fans anything. But if you're a good writer, then if you they don't owe you anything for your writing skills. I mean, if you want a large audience, then I guess you have, because I do kind of. I don't know if I agree fully with that sentiment of you don't owe your fans anything. If you're a good writer, then people will naturally flock to you, which is true. But if you want popularity, I think then that's true. It depends on, I think that you do, though, should at least respect, your fan base or your audience, where you can't just kick them around and say, oh, well, you like Iron Man, so I can do whatever the hell I want with this property, and you just have to take it. I think it's bad to be spiteful toward your audience or to not listen to criticism from your audience. But I think there is a difference between an audience and a fan base, which that's another argument entirely. And I don't know if I want to go into that right now because, like I think you said before we started, we want to keep this episode a little bit short.
Yeah, I'm not feeling particularly great.
Yes, so the debates can wait for later. I want to get into, because last episode I was talking about the Netflix series I'm Not Okay With This, and a lot of my criticism probably fell on deaf ears because, most of the audio was through the camera, which I just was infuriated when I went back and listened to the audio from last week's episode. It just comes in like I'm recording on like a cell phone, and I'm hoping that let me check one last time to make sure that my I'm recording through the Snowball, the microphone right here. The series I'm Not Okay With This. It was about based on a graphic novel which sucks, and the show sucks like a little less. I wouldn't say a little bit less, and I wouldn't say a lot less, but it sucks less than the comic, significant. Well, I mean, compared, the comic, like I said, was a 2 out of 10. The series, by the end of it, I felt like it was a 4 out of 10, but a little bit closer to a 3 than actually, no, I think it was a little bit closer to a, right before the very end, I was thinking, I said out loud, okay, 3 out of 10, but they pulled a twist ending, which honestly, I didn't really care for, in the long run, I think, because it took me a couple of days thinking about it where I'm like, oh, that, I think I said to you before in,
if you liked it more, would the ending have worked better?
Well, I think I said to you, earlier this week, or I think it was last week, right after we recorded the episode, was I feel that if they took the first half of the first season and the last half of the last season with the important plot points from the whole the series and throw that in between, then this could have been a really good pilot episode for the series that they are planning apparently with the next season, because it ends on a very different note than what it builds up. It feels like the beginning of a movie, or the beginning of almost like a Heroes spinoff. It feels like a lot of these writers for these shows like Stranger Things and now this, which was from the same producers as Stranger Things, they just haven't let go of Heroes. Feels like that's always been sort of this cancer within the these shows with superheroes. At least from what I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of these.
That is why, if I somehow come into money in TV, I will try and make Orca a TV show.
Yeah.
Y'all can't say that's Heroes ripoff.
Yeah. People will say it's The Boys ripoff, probably, from all the blood and gore.
Oh, God, yeah.
Have you seen The Boys yet?
No, I need to.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. But yeah, I'm Not Okay With This. It's a 4 out of 10 show. It's not very good, and it feels like you get jerked around a lot. And I think that's where I go into with the ending, is that it feels like the result of okay, now the series is starting, and then it ends, and then it just cuts to black, and it's I can't help but feel disappointed with that, where it's it's a superhero or maybe supervillains. Rocky starts with her powers, but now she gets spoiler alerts. I don't know if you care about spoilers for this.
No.
But at the end, she gets throughout the I think the second half of the season, it's a 7-episode season, and which amounts to I think 3 or 3.5 hours, and which is why I say they could have made this one episode if they cut out all the filler. But throughout the second half, she's being followed by this ghost-like figure who may or may not be real. It doesn't this figure doesn't appear on video cameras or whatever. So it's maybe she's losing her mind, maybe she's not, because there was a ghost type figure that was the whole indie comic representation of her inner doubts or depression or whatever in the comic, which really was, just her doubt and depression and artsy fartsy bullshit like that. But in here, it's an actual like figure person that confronts her at the end, where he's like, they should be afraid of you, and now I'm going to show you how to make them pay. And that's where it cuts to black. So it's like, you just like the plot's finally getting pushed down the field, and then they just yank back and they're like, okay, wait until the next season.
That sounds like a producer hook. That sounds like producer meddling to me.
Yeah, and like the more I think about it, the more infuriated I am by it. Just like, what a dick move, Like,
what I would have done? So she's psycho, or is she telekinetic or psychokinetic?
Same thing.
I thought it was different. I thought telekinetic was reading minds.
No, that's telepathy.
Telepathy. Fuck. Me good with brain. But is she telepathic or psychokinetic?
Just psychokinesis.
I would have made it the manifestation of her unused power, the untapped potential.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not so much even a person, it's like all this power that hasn't been used yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it wants to get out. Like the Beast from Infamous?
Mm-hmm.
That.
That's not actually what the Beast is, though.
I mean, yeah, good point.
I don't think so. It's been a while since I played Infamous.
I thought the Beast was like Cole McGrath, gone balls out, worst case scenario, that's him with his powers gone apeshit.
No, that, like, in Infamous 2, I mean, that might be what happens at the end of Infamous 1, but at least in Infamous 2, they retcon that to where the guy who Cole teamed up with to destroy the Ray Sphere, he gets sucked into the explosion, and in Infamous 2, he Dr. Manhattans himself back together and, like, becomes, like, the Beast. And, like, that's the big reveal near the end of Infamous 2, is that, yeah.
I'm dumb, sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that character, but like, anyway, that's what happens in Infamous 2, is that he uses his power to like unlock other conduits, but like anyone who isn't a conduit in that field, they just get vaporized. So, I mean, I've retained way too much knowledge about the Infamous series.
You retain too much info. Fuck, I'm the one who remembered Rita Repulsa was the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
You should not be able to just whip that out. That's not something that's cool at parties.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Next time you whip that out at a party, like a bunch of girls come up to you and they're like, "Can I suck your dick?" I had this weird like experience earlier today. I was on the toilet taking a shit, and I'm playing solitaire. And because at the end of every game of solitaire, it shows an ad. I got an ad for probiotics. So it's like, is your intestinal tract feeling like gross and just backed up? And I'm just immediately like staring at my phone, like, I put it down, because they're spying on you. They're looking at you through the cameras, measuring your facial expressions, seeing you like strain to squeeze one out. They're like, he seems to be struggling. Goes the algorithm.
They can actually feel it. You squeeze the phone from your hand.
Yeah, your grip. Yeah. It is kind of creepy. I don't know if it feels like there's no going back from this. So I don't know if it's better to just accept it, just let it happen.
No, fight the system. I'm kidding.
Yeah, go out into the woods. Just
if everyone goes out into the woods, we're gonna start making like AI trees. Like you're gonna.
Yeah, the 5G towers, and they're gonna like encompass the whole world. So there's really no escape.
Anyone who says 5G is a radiation fucking thing is just a fucking retard, though.
Yeah. You think those photos are fake, though? Like the pictures of like the trees, like all rotting around the 5G towers, or do you think that that's just something else?
Trees. I haven't seen those photos, but you have to understand, fucking trees die, and it. I haven't looked into this, but I need to fucking look into this. You have to understand, conspiracy theorists are people that I honestly think need to get their heads checked.
Hmm.
I was about to say another thing.
It doesn't look like anything's coming up where I'm searching for. Seems like a lot of like. I mean, look at that. Do you think this is any like this? This is dumb. It just looks like a bunch of dead trees. Like, oh, the 5G towers did that. It's like, okay, but where's the tower?
Oh,
what about all these other ones?
5G if you think 5G caused corona, I'm going to kick your ass. Those people honestly deserve to get their asses kicked.
Mm-hmm. Stop 5G radiation.
God.
I'm starting to love stuff like this, where it's like the big bold text impact font.
It's because Grandma just learned how to use MS Paint.
Oh yeah, I blame Facebook for all this, for all the.
I call it. It's no longer Boomer MySpace. It's Boomer Asylum.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smartest move is to just leave Facebook to the boomers, make it like how Tumblr was like the containment site for like teenagers, but now that Tumblr's like not popular anymore, now all the teenagers are flooding into Twitter, making a hard time for everybody. It's like, oh, anime character with big boobs, no good. I know, like cancel anime.
No, there's Tumblrs for big anime boobs. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. It's all so tiresome.
God.
What else? Oh yeah, I watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World last night, or no, a couple nights ago. Just rewatched it for the 10th anniversary, and that made me feel old. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years since that movie came out.
If there's anything about Scott Pilgrim, it's what I've been thinking about. Who is in Scott Pilgrim again, the title role? I'm blanking on his name, and I feel like an idiot.
Michael Cera.
I almost said Idris Elba, but that's really fucking wrong. Michael Cera. He was Lex Luthor, right?
No, that was Jesse Eisenberg.
Look, they all look alike to me. I'm sorry. Do you agree that? Hold on, I have to pull them next to each other.
I mean, I used to get them confused as well.
Michael Cera. Jesse. Oh wow, not Jesse. I've never seen the two of them in the same room.
Like they both have that sort of like hipstery look about them. The whole like non-threatening beta kind of look. I guess. I don't know. But
I want to see them in the same room.
They should do like a reboot. A reboot of. They should do a reboot of like. I'm trying to think of like a artsy movie from like the 70s, like My Dinner with Andre or Kramer versus Kramer, or I don't know, like one where like you have two similar looking guys like battling it out or something with them, and it's like just a kind of a farce, and it ends up being a tie-in to the MCU.
God,
because every movie now has to be a Marvel movie. There's just
even Orca. Orca has been retroactively made a Marvel character.
No, I think about like like the most like I don't know, non-conventional is the right word, but like regular movies, like the weirdest regular movie to be tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be.
I would give it to Suspiria. Have you ever seen Suspiria?
Oh, that's I know what you're talking about.
The one that on regular media that half in the bag that Josh and Jay basically lose their fucking mind over.
Mm-hmm.
Not Josh.
Or Jack? Is he the bald one?
I don't know. It's the guy with the beard and Mike.
It's Josh.
Josh and the other guy. He's like one of the big guys. He's Jay Ballman.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay and Josh. It's like their favorite fucking movie ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw that review.
It's a really good movie. It's fucking weird.
Is it the the original or the remake?
Original. I want that in the MCU. I want the weird hairy arm monster to fight Thanos.
Mhm.
It just grabs him from a window.
Yeah, I want to rant a little bit about, because I think I do this every now and then, about Maximum Ride, how the Marvel comic, like, because I remember I think that this would have been like a decade ago, there was a short run, like a mini series, I think, of Maximum Ride, and like the book series, and it was very different. Where like they did, because the idea is that they have teenagers who have angel wings, but in this version they had like robot wings, and it was a Marvel comic, so I was expecting it to be. I mean, I didn't read it, but apparently they never actually meet any of the other Marvel superhero characters. And I'm asking myself, what a ripoff, you know? Because there's already a manga series, which is like not only significantly better than the Marvel comic, but better than the novels. I'd say that the manga is like the definitive way to get into this series.
Hold on, Tony.
All right, I'll just talk to myself for a little bit. But yeah, the Maximum Ride Marvel series, it's like there was just such a missed opportunity, and yeah, like whenever I remember it, I just get really, really angry over that. But yeah, I watched Scott.
Hold on.
All right. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Anything I can talk about by myself? Probably should have warmed up before we started. But...
Hey, do you know who should have met the character from Maximum Ride? They should. Excuse me. Fucking XMen.
Mm-hmm.
It would have worked so well since they're laboratory experiments, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Make him like Weapon. Have him like meet Weapon X.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or Angel.
Just yeah. So like, I mean, I am like kind of. This is kind of a like dicey topic to get into, because I've been harsh on superhero stuff before, like saying you can't. Like, you have to focus on making a good story before you focus on the crossovers. But
if it's in a pre-existing universe.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, Maximum Ride isn't really that good to begin with. So at that point, it's like, if you're going to have it in the Marvel universe, just go all out. Like, have them meet every character. Or maybe they couldn't even get the rights to any of the other characters. Like, none of the, like, people running each of those comics even wanted them to show up. But that doesn't even make sense, because not even any of the D-listers show up in the Maximum Ride series, to my novel. Or I think the Marvel series is called Max Ride First Flight, which again, it's like, why would you call it something completely different, unless it's like to avoid confusion with the superior manga version. So I don't know. It all seems like a huge mess, but yeah, going off of that. Back to Scott Pilgrim. I liked it. I still like it. I don't know how much of it, though, has to do with it being a genuinely good movie, and how much of it has to do with nostalgia. I would say it's like has to do with 90% being a good movie, because Edgar Wright, he rarely does any bad movies. I think that this one probably gets the most flack out of all of his movies that he's directed, but it's still a really good movie. It has some really good lines. Some of which, like some of the best lines in the movie, are actually not even from the book. So that's interesting. But yeah, I totally have my nostalgia goggles glued to my head for this one. But yeah, it's still really enjoyable for me. Another subject I want to get into is before we get into Spore. Actually, no. Like, I don't really have much to say about Spore, so we'll get into Spore.
Spore good.
Yeah, Spore good. On my system, it not so good. You said I have to play around with it because it's crashed.
There's mods.
Yeah, there's mods. It crashed when I tried to play it. I didn't really get that far. Well, I got to not to the tribe section, but like to the like land quadruped section, or foot, legs.
I really like that part.
Yeah,
they call that creature.
It feels like I forgot how much it feels like World of Warcraft, or like an MMO for that segment.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember playing it when I was a kid, like probably when it first came out. Yeah, definitely when it first came out. But I remember it just felt because there was like when you get to the galactic segment, then it just kind of like plateaus there. I don't know. I still wish because I remember when I played it the first time, I was really hyped because I saw all the E3 demos, the like what they. I remember. I think Will Wright, because I think this was a brainchild of Will Wright, the
Hey,
creator.
guess who fucked him over?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely made it more less organic. I think because
I do like using it. I still play Spore. I use it as a character designing tool.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about the dick monsters before we started.
Yeah. If when I get my mods installed in it, I can actually sculpt some pretty good characters. I like to use the teeth for things that aren't teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I might give it another shot, see what mods I can find. Because, but yeah, I still like think to myself, what could have been? Because like if you go back and watch the like original progression from like that, there's one presentation where it shows the progression all the way from, and this was when they still had the aquatic segment in the game, the like where you're a fish.
There's a mod for that coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
You said it's coming out?
Yeah, they're working on it. They're just trying to get the animations up.
I mean, it'd be neat if they had a mod that made it more faithful to the original, like announcement trailer. Because I really want something that's more organic than what like the base game.
I feel you there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'll give it another shot sometime soon. Lately, I've been playing Factorio. The yeah.
The Autism Simulator.
You know what? I'm actually not that good at it right now. I'm sort of like.
If you ever want to see something fun, make me play a management game. It has taught me I should never run a company.
Yeah. I found out about this game through Leafy, and I think just yesterday his account got banned. So, RIP F in the chat. Well, I mean, it's not that big of a deal because, like you said before, I mean, I saw like a bunch of people on Twitter being like, "Oh, good riddance. I hope that he dies homeless, and like his only source of income is finally gone." It's like you really are clueless because he's talked about how he's like a day trader. Basically, he's a finance guy, and he's making like more money through that than he ever did through YouTube. I mean, according to him, I don't know how much that is true because. Do you think somebody would go on the internet and just tell lies? But he seems to know he seems to be in the know about financial stuff. So it's for him, it was just a hobby. And I admire that. I admire anyone who just looks at, because what pisses me off about YouTube is like the people who use it and expect it to be their only source of income. I think that's really, really stupid to just,
set up YouTube, set up a Patreon, maybe.
Yeah, or not even that, but like think to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to have a stable career through YouTube."
Fuck that! No,
that's like people like that are really just completely out of touch. Very always online guys who say that. I think that that's why I think that's why I've never really taken YouTube that seriously. About. I mean, even the podcasts. Like, if we miss the deadline for like Wednesday at 4, then it's like no big deal. We'll push it back.
We'll push it back again.
Yeah, push it back again. We do this at our own leisure. It's not that big a deal. We don't earn any money from this. I don't expect to ever to. But yeah, I'm in a pretty secure financial situation anyway. So yeah, I'm more than willing to shit talk people who aren't in that way. I've no problem with punching down.
You punch above the belt, below the belt, and right around the belt.
I'll punch old ladies. I'll punch babies.
If you found an old baby,
I was going to say that's a reference. No, that's a reference to Yu Yu Hakusho.
Fuck. I missed that.
Yeah, I actually saw that clip going around like a month ago, or a couple months back. Was that part where he punches the lady with a cock in the balls?
God,
No, he's
Kuwabara is still my favorite character from that.
He's able to tell that she has a cock because he like ropes her.
Not as big as mine. I actually have been playing Fallout New Vegas again. I have a question. Do you think Kuwabara counts as a low intelligence character?
Yes.
Fuck, I need to play Kuwabara in Fallout New Vegas now.
I would say his intelligence would be either 2 or 3.
It'd have to be 2. So you can get the low end options. Dude, I have a question for you, and this is something that's specific. So I've been playing as Vicky,
Mhm.
and I've been making this like every option that I see her doing, I have her take, right?
Mhm.
Guess what fucking faction she joined? Fucking Legion.
I'm not
I
surprised.
apologize.
Yeah, I'm not
sorry.
surprised.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about going back to my smoke story because I started writing this, and then I started getting inspired to write a short prequel comic
Mhm.
because I kind of like. I realize what I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to keep writing backwards about these characters until it's eventually, smoke skins, like Muppet Babies, but they're all the smoke skins.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I was actually considering going back to Yesterday Kids. The Pocket Jacks the Pocket Jacks comic contest was a few nights ago. They announced the winner. It was the guy who did Untold Legend, or I can't actually remember the name of his comic, but the point is it wasn't me who won, which I am perfectly fine with. I'm fine with it. No, I was thinking about this before they started, and I was actually talking to my mom about it because there's just been some drama lately with the Pocket Jacks Discord, the wiki, all this crap with other people like scammings and all that stuff. And it's like I've always tried to keep arm's length to that. So for me, it's like it's good that I don't have to sign any contracts or lock myself into this, especially. I think I'd feel more happier doing my own thing, doing webcomics, especially. Because I was thinking about getting back to the Yesterday Kids, and I was actually doing a rough outline last night for because I was considering what I was doing with the webtoon and how the webtoons are just short gag based comics. I don't know, it was a struggle to get through for me. It just wasn't all that interesting. You have these pages where it's let me show you real quick. And it's all just built around one joke. And I couldn't really, especially even the second comic, I was really just struggling to get through it. So I was thinking about what I really
maybe
want.
do a short, maybe 2 free issue joke arc thing.
Yeah, that's what I was considering. Not even a joke, but just a short story. And what I was thinking about was taking the 4 primary or main characters and doing a story about each of them. So the one I'm working on right now is of the main character Shane, and that's not even going to build up to a punchline, but rather it's just going to be a short story. And that's actually where I started writing with Yesterday Kids. Is I did a few short stories. So I'm thinking about doing just that in comic form to just find my footing with that. So we'll see how that pans out. Am I going to follow through with that, or go back to a different project, or complete a new project altogether? I'm hoping to lock myself into that because I already have the script for the first chapter of Cat Kid done. That's finished, and even though it's not fully illustrated, I still feel like I got something done. Same way I felt when I finished those 5 pages of that other comic in the 24-hour challenge. They're just sketches, but they're done. They're in front of me. I have something completed. or at least not even fully finished, but in front of me, something I've worked on, and seeing the results of your labor is pretty great. So I'm hoping to put more effort into just go forward with Yesterday Kids, because that's my passion project. And yeah.
I've been trying to work on RPG stuff. I'm trying to make my own system.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to base it on my comic with Hugo, Sean, and those characters.
Mm-hmm.
My concept is I'm making a monster manual thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the most fucking retarded idea for something, and I might want to share it if you'd hear your thoughts.
Sure.
Basically, remember I used the term metademon.
Mm-hmm.
One of the metademons is basically Little Bo Peep. Metademons are concepts giving a horrifying form. Her ability is that she mutates humans who basically gaze upon her without her veil into horrifying human-sheep hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
And also, basically, everyone, you know the joke. You see a cute girl, you look at her.
I'm not
Horrifying
familiar with it.
It's the joke in the comic. She's a hot chick. Everyone looks at her. When you look at her when face on, they mutate.
Oh.
It's the Medusa clause.
Huh. I was gonna say, it was like, is this like your experience with autism, like making eye contact with people?
Fuck.
I mean,
probably subconsciously.
It's also sort of my experience too.
You know what I hate? I used to have remember Mr. Boya, the teacher?
I don't know if I'm familiar with him.
He was in Spectrum. He used to have me look him in the eyes when he wanted me to say something to him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think you
Fuck
told me.
you.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Not fuck you, fuck him. But sheep are cool. Mutants are cool.
Oh yeah, I watched. Did I bring this up? I watched the Rugrats movie last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Inebriated again?
No, but it felt like I was, and like it's confusing me because like it must just be the pacing and like just all this because it has that kids movie problem of like all this loud stuff happening to keep kids' attention. So it felt like I was on drugs watching it, where I'm like, what the hell is going on? What's everybody saying? So it had sort of the same experience. So I guess like when I was watching the sequel, Rugrats in Paris, it must have just amplified that to the point where I had like a panic attack. Or no, it wasn't even from that. It was just from whatever. Like the point is, it was like, I mean, I don't know which one is better, because I remember the reason I watched Rugrats in Paris first is because I remembered Rebel Taxi saying that like the second one is better than the first. And I don't know. I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's hard for me to make an objective, stance on that. But the first movie it has this really dreary, like desaturated color palette, and there are parts where it's like feels really depressing. But I like that stuff. It reminded me of As Told by Ginger. It has that, like, it doesn't quite have that exact same feeling, but I like that stuff where you have a cartoon that's kind of depressing, or it's for kids but it feels kind of depressing, that kind of vibe. So that it just ended up making me, by the end I just ended up missing As Told by Ginger, because man, I hate that there's no legal way to watch it streaming. Like, I think there are DVDs out there, but it's not the complete series or even like a complete season. It's one of those where it's like, here's a set number of episodes on each DVD, and they're all from like different. The
Godzilla animated series is the same way, but they're not even like episodes 1, 2, and 3. It's like episodes 1, 8, and 9.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we'll see that in time, where more and more of these more obscure or cult series end up getting streaming deals, or even like places like Shout Factory will do a collection, because Shout Factory did the collections for like Angry Beavers and Hey Arnold. I don't know if they have one for Hey Arnold. They did one for Rocko's Modern Life, so those are fairly popular, but nothing for As Told by Ginger, from what I've heard, and that's kind of sad to me. And where it's like you have these hidden gems that are like you're not, it's not 100% sure if they're ever going to like get that at least DVDs, because it seems like pretty set in stone that they're going to be on streaming services eventually. When, I don't know. Like, I'm chomping at the bit for like the complete series of For As Told by Ginger on like, even like, I don't know if Nickelodeon still has their own streaming service, because like the Splat, I think is what it's called, because that was on Verve the last I checked, which is like the whole, like, you pay a subscription for like a whole list of streaming services, which I haven't checked lately, but like As Told by Ginger wasn't on there. They had like other series, the popular ones, but if they have that, like if I check tonight and As Told by Ginger is up for streaming on like Verve or the Splat or whatever, I'm going to shell out money for that, just like for the whole year. I'll put my money down on the table and say that. Yeah.
I just put you walking in there, just with like golden coins. Here are my shekels. Give me my ginger.
So, but yeah, on the other end of the spectrum, I was watching, like, there's a movie that I watched on that, or tried to watch on Netflix, the Pixar Story, the documentary of Pixar, and
I don't. Is it by Pixar?
yeah, and you can tell it's by Pixar or by like the company that or Disney. I think, I don't know if I don't think it's by Disney. I think this might have been before they were bought out by Disney, or were they always owned by Disney?
I think that they might had some independence.
Yeah, like
So
they had independence up into a certain, or maybe they still do. I don't know, but you can tell it was made by Pixar because it's just so self-aggrandizing.
2006, they bought them for $7.4 billion.
Yeah. But yeah, this documentary is, I wrote in the notes, unwatchable. And yeah, it's like, it starts off with this montage of animation throughout the ages of, here's where the spinning wheel, and here's the first Mickey Mouse short, and all these events were leading up to Pixar. And it's like, fuck you. Yeah, fuck off.
Toy Story? No. Reboot?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also, I'm sure even more people would find it infuriating because John Lasseter is sort of the like main character of this, where it's like,
oh fuck, it's okay. Hold on, let me type down notes. Unwatchable.
Yeah, because it's like, and that one day I was fired from Disney. Dun, dun,
I
dun.
have no idea how.
And then we didn't know what we were going to do, but sooner or later I had a feeling that everything was going to work out and we would be the greatest, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. It's like, God, like, I hate that, where it's like, I can stomach a little bit of self-aggrandizing with these documentaries where it's like, I mean, if they show like, I always think of the
documentary type.
Yeah, I like.
Imagine if it was done Tiger King style.
Well, I always like for that reason, I always like the Star Wars prequel behind the scenes videos where they show like all the warts of like this, of making a movie, where they're in everybody's just watching the test footage and they all just look miserable, and they're like, how are we going to make this work? It's like that was George, like, this just doesn't look quite good, maybe we can make this look a little better. And you just see everybody going like, oh, God, I just want to go home. And it's like, like I like documentaries where they show like the production troubles. That's the most entertaining part, and that's how you know it's an authentic production, where they're on set and they're like, what are we gonna do? Like, there's like rain last night, everything's flooded. How are we gonna salvage any of this shit for today? And but they somehow make it work. And like, stuff like behind the scenes of Conan the Barbarian, like where they had to just completely improvise. I know that I know The Exorcist, there's like a story about how like the director fired a handgun to make the actor look more afraid. So like crazy stuff like that you can't get away with nowadays. I just like seeing stuff like that. Nowadays, everything has to be, on a soundstage and green
God.
screen.
You know, do you know what I miss? Even I miss a good set. I miss a good set.
Yeah, I think they're
Ho
expensive.
ho. I miss like the fucking like monster movies have good sets. I miss horror movie sets.
Mhm.
Horror movies knew how to set them good.
Yeah, yeah, they are pretty expensive to make. And I do like some stuff on the other end of the spectrum. Like, have you seen the behind the scenes for The Mandalorian? There's an interesting thing that they do where it's like this huge LED screen that wraps completely around the set, and I think that that's pretty interesting because I guess for a while now it's been hard to direct actors to react to stuff on the green screen because it's not really there. So stuff in the background, it's like it's not really happening for the actors, and you can kind of see that through their performance. But with the screen, it's like not only do
Yeah.
you not only solve that problem, but you're able to like change the scenery in real time, where you're able to like adjust what time of day it is, see like how the lighting looks from every angle, like in real time. So I think that that's pretty interesting. Even if it's not a physical set, which it always looks better. I think that it's like substituting that. Like if you have some like these advancements in technology, I think is the thing I find most interesting. Like I watched another movie I watched last week was Total Recall. I think it was the first time I ever saw it because I remember catching the ending to it when I was like 14 or 15 and not knowing what the hell was going on. But yeah, it's a really, really great movie. And it was a nice little surprise because like I didn't realize that it was a Paul Verhoeven movie. And so when I saw his name in the opening credits, I'm like, oh shit! Well, now I'm really invested. Now I'm really gonna like this because him. He directed RoboCop, Starship Troopers. But yeah,
I can't watch that 70s show now that I realize Red from 70s show is the bad guy in Robocop.
yeah. Well, I watched that '70s show first, so seeing him in RoboCop was funny.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
But now it's connected.
Mm-hmm.
I saw both of them back to back, and it's like, no.
He sticks his foot in RoboCop's ass, and the gears like grind his leg off.
No, he's able to just power through his ass. I think that'd be even funnier, like just some like, I'm gonna put my
Yeah,
oh god,
the tip of his shoe touches the self-destruct button up there.
yeah, God, I like the RoboCop sequels.
Really?
Yeah,
Everybody, I've heard everybody hates RoboCop 3.
okay, I like 2. I don't remember much of fucking 3. I like the villain of 2. I remember it being like a weird fucking samurai cyborg. I think it was Yakuza cyborg. I don't fucking remember, but he looked cool.
Yeah, a lot of people like RoboCop 2. It's not. They say it's not as good as the first one, but they still like it.
RoboCop 1 is like an awesome, first class meal. RoboCop 2 is like a fine, okay meal.
Like fast food.
Yeah.
You get a really good McChicken in the McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
But and I heard that the Starship Troopers sequels are all terrible, though. So no interest in watching. Oh, speaking of terrible movies, one movie that I was meaning to get around to watching, and I've been reluctant to watch it because I haven't rewatched it yet, is the Inspector Gadget movie with Matthew Broderick.
We have to watch it together somehow.
Oh, yeah. Like I was meaning
you have to watch it with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Friends don't let each other watch that movie alone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, I'll see if I can find a way to set something like that up. Maybe the Monkey Bar Hole on SciTube. You can do something like that. I think they only allow YouTube movies though. I don't know if you can like embed it in that site. So I don't know. We'll figure something out. And I think that's all I had listed on my list. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, but I do have an. Wait, no, kind of, maybe.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Have you noticed that So I've been playing Fallout. I've been playing Fallout. I've been playing that. Have you noticed that in Fallout New Vegas, they give you a lot of fucking hints to where to look for the bad guy?
Hmm.
In the first scene, they have the character Benny, and I'm gonna pull up a dialogue translation.
Hmm.
Uh, Vegas opening dialogue. If it pulls up that fucking monologue, I'll be pissed. Benny quotes Fallout New Vegas. Cool. So like, he says game was rigged from the start, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Hold on. He was talking about how this is like an 18-carat run of bad luck from where you're sitting, but truth is, game was rigged from the start. It's fucking gambler slang.
Hmm.
It's supposed to get your mind into the Vegas swing.
Well, I mean, the name of the game
It's
is
New
New Vegas,
Vegas.
and New Vegas is like
In the
always up there in
background
the
of a whole
background.
shot. Yeah. But they're trying to get you thinking gambler as soon as possible, subconsciously.
Right.
I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of clever.
Mhm.
Because they're tribals. Do you remember that there were like tribal folk that were basically given the casinos to live in?
Mhm. Yeah. It was the Gomorrah Casino.
No, he is the tops. Gomorrah is the whorehouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes me think because I think about this because Oni Plays actually started playing Beyond Good and Evil, and I'm like reluctant to watch them continue because it's Beyond Good and Evil is one of my favorite games of all time. I don't know if I would say it's in my top 5. I don't know about that though because there are a lot of really good Nintendo 64 games like Mario 64 and Legend of Zelda Ocarina that I'd put in my top 5.
I think Majora's better than Ocarina.
Yeah, I think
I will be
that's fair.
crucified for my opinion.
I think that's fair. I think a lot of people would agree with you. But like in Beyond Good and Evil, I think the plot twist is actually given away like by the first alien you fight. In that, but his voice is so garbled that you can barely make it out. But if you listen, and if you have context for the ending, because it actually shows like scenes from the ending or like the area that you end up at the end, at the very end. So I always thought that was kind of clever. Well, once I went back and found that out, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, I'm sort of gonna clench my teeth a little bit watching Oni Plays bumble through it because it's such a beautiful game and it's contrasts so heavily with their sense of humor. So I don't know.
You know what I thought was kind of. I used to like Game Grumps. There was one episode I couldn't watch.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the episode they did on that weird little game Double? The one where you play the little screw guy? It's a weird little PlayStation 1 puzzle game. It's a game I was obsessed with as a kid. And they started railing on the game. And I'm like, no, don't kill my childhood.
This game doesn't tell me what to do.
Yeah, it's a fucking hard puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have to unscrew all these screws without touching empty spots and also avoiding evil power tools. Because, PS1 game.
I was actually going back to watch the Oni Plays they did when they did the Inspector Gadget puzzle game on the PS1.
God.
It looks so bad. It looks like I liked one of the comments saying, it looked like the cutscenes look like animations you'd see in a bowling alley on the screen. So it's like that bad. I imagine there's an interesting story behind that, like that game. Like I like those sorts of like obscure games. Those like especially based off of like licensed properties that look really bad or like have game puzzle games are usually the really cheap genres like puzzle or stuff that you can like just slap a logo onto and expect it to sell from the name brand recognition. And just thinking about like these studios that worked on them and like what the process was behind them, and, like rendering, like because you have to like render new assets, or if you have just another related game, like slapping the the sprite works and for the show all over like existing code. I always find that kind of interesting.
That sort of reminds me. God, fuck. I had a point. I had a thing to say about Seth.
Mhm.
I thought I read somewhere that's how Alien versus Predator, the arcade game, got started.
Hmm.
That they were making an Aliens game that never got really finished, and they got the Predator license. And before they even pitched it in a movie, they had the idea of crossing them over.
Hmm.
You could play as a knockoff of Ellen Ripley. You could play as Schwarzenegger, or you could play as a Predator.
Hmm.
Who do you think everyone played as every time? The
Schwarzenegger.
fucking Predator.
Oh, okay.
This Predator is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It also had a staff, so you could kind of just cheese half the fights.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing though, because like I remember, like back to Scott Pilgrim for the video game, like they had to do like completely new assets and like from the ground up, and they had to do that in like less than a year. So like you can make a really good game like from like not having to slap a logo onto an existing code or whatever. Eric Salad Bar, he did a really good video on that, like examining the Scott Pilgrim game, which I would recommend you check it out. He did, I think he got to start doing only plays fan animations, but he's been doing a lot of video essays lately. So let me see if I can pull up his channel real quick to show you. Yeah, I'd recommend like this. Yeah, he did a bunch of only plays animations, but lately he's been doing like this one. I'd recommend you check it out. But I think that's all I have to talk about. If you want to end, we can end here.
Out.
All right. Yeah, me too. So we'll talk again next time. I've been Tony.
I've been Zach.
And this has been The Monkey Bar.